Welcome to the bold analysis. David Lee is telling the country that they will leave the country as corrupt as they found it. In a tweet, in a devastating tweet to Kenyans, he's shocked the nations, saying that they leave the country as corrupt as they found it. Ladies and gentlemen, that tweet has shocked many at a time a story has been going viral. And I want us to look at the story of Wavinyas' son, Machakos Governor Wavinyas' son, detained in UK in a major money laundering investigation. I want us to look at the intrigues of this, but before that, I am reminding you that we are finishing Kilifi Elderly Mission today. The deficit is only 15,000. We've been supporting these women on houses and donation for the last 2 weeks. So we had done the first batch of it. So he came back to do the other 2 houses, and the 2 had been completed. So what's pending is just on how they can get some few beds and mattresses just for the new 4 houses. And I have a really deficit of 15,000. So if you can chip in, and of course what you can get at this level, even if you doing 150 bob challenge, it will go in a long way in supporting this cause. This has been close to us because they were being supported by one of the members of this channel, but because a former military officer, because he fell ill, he could not continue to support them, and then he had to we had now to come through and at least ensure that they are supported. And thank you very much for those who've turned up towards that. In fact, I've seen now, I think it's now 10,000. Yeah, it's now 10,000. Now, the deficit is now 10,000. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at this story by Machakos Governor Wavinyas. Fresh details have emerged, and I just want to read it verbatim because it's a report that someone has compiled, Wesley Kibande. Fresh details have emerged as customs authorities in the UK, have held the travel documents of a Kenyan governor, Wavinyas, and her son, Charles Oduor. The Machakos governor, Wavinyas, has been in the UK for her 4th week on a private visit. Last week, Charles, a UK-Kenyan dual citizen who was accompanied by Governor Wavinyas, was questioned by British anti-fraud officials. He had been arrested while attempting to bank 679 million at a first commercial bank in East London. He failed to explain the source of the money, but maintained that it was intended to constructing a level 5 hospital for Machakos residents. What I don't understand is how Machakos residents in UK, a governor would go to construct an hospital for diaspora residents in Machakos. According to our sources, Charles and his mother were in the process of buying a residential apartment in Shirike Valley, one of the secure residential estates in East London. The estate agents asked him to do a bank transfer. He was in the process of depositing the huge amount of money, and that's when hell broke loose. On Monday, Charles Oduor was arraigned in Iceland Crown Court. He denied the money laundering charge before Justice Martin Edmonds and was released on a cash bail of £2,000. Charles, his mother, and other family members are staying in their house in Shoreditch, located in East London, under police watch. The British National Crime Agency investigation also seeks to establish if Mr. Charles Oduor has links to the network involved in recent criminal activities, including smuggling. Details have emerged that 2 Kenyan lawyers specializing in international and economic law flew to London on Friday. The 2 lawyers were dispatched by a top Kenyan politician after a failed attempt to engage the British High Commissioner to Kenya. The lead lawyer, Mr. Bernard W.T., is expected to mount client defense at a court session scheduled for 11 a.m. UK time. Charles Oduor's case is set to be mentioned on Monday next week. This story is mind-blowing. And one thing that is really interesting about it is that unlike the justice system in Kenya that is riddled with corruption, the UK justice system is working. And there is something that I like about that report. By the way, that report has been that case has been in public and in these social media spaces for quite some time. But of course, it doesn't make news in UK. It's not really largely been covered by the UK newspapers, or rather the UK media. But it points out to the way the case has been consistent on the way it's reported and it's structured. That is what has been going on. And it shows some 4 issues about our judicial system that we need to learn. In Kenya, corruption is riddled and eroded with politics. That's number 1. Because an official, if now you can see now, that has been arrested in UK, and the story is maintained there, and no one has emerged. There is no one in UK or no one even back home that has said that our money or our person is targeted. It's because people, and of course they've been pursuing the story as it is. So I like the fact that they also questioned what was that money meant for. If you ask me, there was a paper trail on this money was being trailed from the source. And even probably if this was cash, maybe someone flew with this cash from Kenya, but it was really known and someone trailed the governor on this, if this is the way it had gone. The third thing is the way the media has disciplined keeping off that story. And I wish they keep off, because the moment the Kenyan media picks up the story and amplifies it, it will erode. Of course, there will be emotions around it, but politicians will find a way of bringing spin and twists around it. So the 2 issues on the fact that it is not politicized, no one has bring twists, cons and pros around it. And the other thing is how quick the case is going. Just within the 4 weeks, and someone has already been presented to court, and the court session has already started, and things are going on. It's a bit, there's some very good indicators on how fast they have actually managed to fasten the case. The other observation that I've made around that is about an attempt to reach the British commissioner to try to intervene in the case, and that intervention failed. If it was Kenya and the president was to intervene and someone was to intervene and benefit from it, I'm telling you, we're going to be having that case. So it's a bit interesting, and it's an eye-opener. That story is an eye-opener to Kenyans and to President Ruto about how many governors, how many leaders, how many cabinet secretaries are smuggling cash from Kenya to buy properties overseas. You know, a level 5 hospital is being built, a hot air level 5 hospital is to be built in diaspora, while if you go to a level 5 hospital in Machakos, there are no drugs. So you see the ugly face of corruption, because we all know what kind of money does the governor have. We know the salary of a governor. So it's just telling you how the resources of a country are getting smuggled outrightly out of this country for people seeking overtures, fortunes outside. Now that is where your money goes. And I think as a country, those are some kind of, we must have a legislation on how we can rescope. That should be traced back in the country, and the governor be questioned, and that money be recovered back to the source. Because we want to believe, we know the salary of a governor. That cannot be the salary of a governor. And that is why I want to point out what can cure corruption. Because corruption is draining this country. corruption is draining this country completely. We have the law, the justice system is flawed. Just today there is a story in The Nation about how cases at DPP, some arrive at DPP's office, amid an investigation, someone starts process of withdrawing, and even a 63 billion, a billion case is withdrawn under insufficient evidence, while money has been lost, X amount of money. Some former governors have been doing business with their children. They're supposed even to be arraigned in court with their children, and then those cases are dropped under political convenience. People, have to politically right aligned, and when they get the right political alignment, they can be able to get away with such huge corruption scandals. Leaked letters about how influential officers influence such decisions is something that we need to look into. We're really following into this case, and ladies and gentlemen, I think it's more appealing that now the UK administration is coming up and is speaking about this case. That's my take, guys. Let's meet in the next.